Hey there and welcome. If you're like me, a cornerstone of wherever I like to travel to, or especially live, has to include good fishing, especially fly fishing. You see, I've been fly fishing since I was 5 years old, and I'm lucky enough to call Central Oregon home because we've got some of the best fishing around. Today we're going to break down 6 different fly fishing waters around Central Oregon. Not necessarily 6 fishing holes in Bend, that would be silly, but all of these waters are less than an hour away from Bend. So stay tuned. First spot, the Metolius River. Now, as you can see, the Metolius River is a beautiful river. This river is spring-fed, and one of the major tourist attractions in the area is the head of the river, where you can literally watch the river just come straight out of the ground. The river meanders through Camp Sherman, twisting and turning as a small stream through the ponderosa trees and the Deschutes National Forest, before it turns into a much larger river as it heads north towards Lake Billy Chinook. There's plenty of access along the river, and it is a year-round fly fishing only river. The Metolius is home to rainbow trout, mountain whitefish, as well as a very healthy population of bull trout that make their way upstream every year from Lake Billy Chinook when the kokanee come up to spawn. Now, the Metolius is for experienced anglers only. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody can go fish it. But it is a technical river. It's a very tough river to fish. It's a very tough river to even wade. It's very canyony, so there's steep drop-offs. If you're wading in the water at all, you're usually up to your waist. And again, it is a challenging river because it's crystal clear, spring-fed. All of the fish are completely wild, and they all come with their own degree in fake flies. I would rate this river as probably one of the most challenging on this list. And, simply spending time on this river is worth the price of admission. So check it out. East Lake. Now, East Lake is at the top of the Newberry caldera. A blown up volcano. There are 2 lakes up there, Paulina Lake and East Lake. And of the 2, East Lake is personally my favorite. There's a small resort there where you can grab a bite to eat. You can rent boats, even stock up on some small provisions if you happen to be camping in the area. Most of the lake is campgrounds that kind of surrounds the lake. So it's a perfect spot to go hang out during the summer. Because the lake is one of only a few in the area that has a decent beach or, good beach access. Because most of the lakes around here go from, mud to muck to water, and it's not really good for, beach access with the kids, stuff like that. So you can fish this lake from the bank. However, fishing from the boat is a much better and preferred method. Now, you can use your drift boat, or even just a inflatable pontoon boat works wonders on East Lake. The fishing is not too challenging, but be mindful of the weather, as it is pretty high up in elevation, and the weather can the weather can change on you pretty suddenly. I've been snowed on in June, which was weird. Ultimately, I love East Lake. It is definitely one of my favorite lakes to fish in the summertime. It's full of fish. It's got rainbows, browns, and even kokanee. But there's hatches that come off almost every day. It's got fantastic dry fly fishing, some of the best probably around. It's got great beach access. It's great for families. The camping is superb. So it's definitely a place to bring your family and enjoy time on over the course of the summer. All right, Crooked River. Now, east of Bend, out in the Juniper Desert, lies this gem of a tailwater. Originating at the southern base of the Ochiltree Mountains, this tiny little stream runs into the Prineville Reservoir, and from the Prineville Reservoir, Bowman Dam comes about 5 miles of prime rainbow trout and whitefish tailwater fishing. The Crooked River is a different kind of beauty. Not in the forest, not deep in the forest, the Ponderosa Forest, like, the Metolius River like we showed you, or the Fall River you'll see coming up. But it's a dry, arid, deserty kind of beautiful. But it's in a canyon. So you've got sagebrush, junipers, all within this beautiful canyon. It's a different kind of beauty, but it's definitely stunning in its own right. Downstream from the Bowman Dam, about 5 miles from the Bowman Dam, down about 5 miles, is really where you're looking to be fishing. After that, and above that, really, above the reservoir and below that is really more agriculture. So there's a lot of, farming and stuff that goes on in the area, private property. But in those 5 miles, there's some great water. The water's a little bit off color, but that doesn't seem to bother the fish. And it really is a awesome river to fish for beginners and experienced anglers alike. Whitefish and rainbows can be caught basically year-round on the Crooked River. However, in the spring, summer, and fall, they can be caught in abundance. This is not an overly technical river, and a great day on the Crooked River, you could catch more than a couple dozen fish. So if you only have a few hours to check it out, it's definitely going to be worth your time. Crane Prairie. Way out on the Cascade Lakes Highway, past Mount Bachelor, past the Three Sisters Mountains, used to lie this beautiful little creek, meandering through a prairie with tall ponderosas growing throughout. Well, that was a long time ago. See, then what they did is they built a dam and they filled that prairie full of water. And now we have this beautiful lake called Crane Prairie. I mean, the rainbows in this lake have tons of food, grow super big and fat, and they have their own name. They're not even called rainbows, they're called cranebows. You're gonna need a boat because bank access isn't very good and it isn't gonna help you too much anyway. Because what you wanna do with that boat is get in the channel. Especially, from midsummer on, all of the fish are gonna congregate in that stream that we talked about in the beginning. The lake is covered with stumps of trees from a long time ago, but it's super scenic. You've got mountain views. You're gonna find bald eagles swooping around. There's definitely a learning curve here to this lake, and I've had some of my most frustrating days on Crane Prairie. But once you have the system down, this lake provides endless fun, fighting large rainbows, commonly over 20 inches. So definitely go check out Crane Prairie. Fall River. Here's another beautiful river, smaller stream, running through a heavily forested section of the Deschutes National Forest, but it's crystal clear and home to wild and hatchery rainbows alike. There's great access to fishing at the fish hatchery, which in the spring and summer usually provides anglers with a great chance to hook up with some of the smaller trout that are planted in there, as well as opportunities for some of the bigger fish that like to hang around and tease the anglers. The big boys who hang out throughout the rest of the river are not so nice. The fish here are large and wise, smart fish who know how to hide and know how to feed without even showing you that they're there. The river is covered with down timber, providing lots of cover for fish to hide. With patience and size 20 flies on a 6X tippet, you do have a good shot at catching them year round. Now this river is fly fish only and is one of the best rivers for fishing in the winter. Just watch out because there'll probably be 3 feet of snow around. The biggest challenge of fishing the Fall River is actually finding fish. You can hike for miles and not see a single fish anywhere, and then around the next bend, you'll see 5 or 6 or even a dozen just laying in this little pocket under a log, which is almost impossible to get to anyway. It's definitely a beautiful river and one that you should check out. And probably one of the most varied in terms of how hot or cold the river can be. Some days you can go there and you can catch a whole bucket of fish, and other days, you can get downright skunked. The Deschutes River. In particular, I'm going to cover the lower Deschutes, but I'll go ahead and tell you about all 3 sections of the Deschutes. The Deschutes is the river that I love the most. It's the river that I was basically raised on. I've got pictures of myself as a 5-year-old boy with a fishing rod in the water along the Deschutes. Now, there's 3 sections to the Deschutes River, the upper, the middle, and the lower. So the upper is actually up, really actually near the Fall River. It's where it comes out of the Cascade Lakes. It works its way through some of those lakes up there, and then it comes down closer to the town. The middle Deschutes is where it is in town, basically from Bend, above Bend, Sun River to Redmond. And then the lower Deschutes is actually a combination of all 3 rivers, the Crooked, the Metolius, and the Deschutes, as they all converge into Lake Billy Chinook. Below the Pelton Regulation Dam from Billy Chinook, out comes the lower Deschutes. This heads north all the way to the Columbia River, and it's truly a world-class river that people all over the world come to check out and to fish. So naturally, it's the best of all 3. We're talking big, fat rainbow trout in the Deschutes called red sides. There are some browns, there are some bull trout. Steelhead come up in the summer and in the fall. And even sometimes down near the mouth, you can even hook into salmon as well. This river's got everything going on in it. Now this is big water where wading can be a challenge, but rewards are worth it. You can bank fish with plenty of success. There's tons of access for bank fishing, but you can also take a boat. Drift boats are the common preferred method of fishing from the Deschutes. However, you cannot fish from the boat. You must just use the boat basically as access to get access to other parts of the river that, bank anglers cannot. Be sure to check the regulations before you take a boat. And be sure to check into the whitewater. There's tons of whitewater on the Deschutes. There's a lot of whitewater rafters on the Deschutes. But just be sure to check the regulations to make sure that you're doing everything okay there. Spring fishing includes the famous salmon fly hatch. Through the summer, there's tons of caddis hatches that go on daily. There's all kinds of hatches, but my favorites are the salmon fly hatch in the spring, the caddis hatch throughout the summer, and then of course, come fall, it's time to start swinging for the big boys, the steelhead. This river is easily my favorite, and I would fish it every day if I could. But half the time I'm making videos for you guys, and half the time I'm selling houses, so give me a call, we'll get you set up out here, and I'd love to hear from you. Hey, really, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you have any questions regarding fishing in Central Oregon, feel free to give me a ring, give me a buzz. That'd be great. Or if you just want to check out the next video that we have, you can check it out probably by clicking about there. Or if you want to check out the rest of our page and know more about what we do and everything, you can subscribe right over there. Thanks guys for watching, and tight lines. Yeah.